Welcome. It's me, Hannah Crum, with two legends.
Okay, me, Steve. I
Steve.
interviewed
And Mad Cat.
And that cat.
This guy right here. Every time you score, he has to play this song for you every time, every single time.
David. He appears. I believe in Derek. Let's go.
Well, the fine folks at Spectrum decided they were gonna hijack the original Zoom. So there is a lost Zoom out there. I'm sure it's recorded by now, but in terms of a lost episode, we have it. It's on Zoom. If I'm gonna pick it up or not, I don't know. They'll send me a link one way or another, but it doesn't matter. We're here now. I've got keyword from the background, obviously, but I mean, if I were to change my background, I'd say I'm in a nice little setting here, nice in the shade. I can see Steve on the other end. He's broadcasting from Antramrick.
Yes, with the beautiful backline of noontime or midday at the beautiful downtown stadium. So,
Yes.
well, not downtown stadium. I was in downtown last night, by the way, to watching a Tiger game because our captain throughout the first ceremony for a pitch to a
Good
great
thing I got video of that. I'll share that with y'all here. I'll tell you what though, I think Javi Baez will still swing at that pitch. Yes, me and Neil Rule are part of the anti-Javi Baez bandwagon, as you know.
Well, let me say that this weekend was very good. Jimmy Fallon was in town. The Lions won. And as far as international soccer, both of our respective teams that we support won. St. Pauli, who I supported after they played a friendly here at Keyword almost, I think, 5 or 6 years ago, beat August Bus 2-1. So they're tied early on for second place with Köln and Dortmund, two behind Bayern Munich, the kings of German soccer in the Bundesliga.
And Borussia Dortmund not one to sneeze at. How's Frankfurt doing?
I wish I could know, but I'm reading off my notes because I'm using this phone. You know what I mean?
Shout out to our friend Garrett. Hope he's doing well as well. But yeah, I had a good Sunday. Obviously, this team put a BTA on the Bears on Sunday afternoon at the Ford Field. Celtic came back and had a 2-1 victory during their match. And of course, it was the Manchester Derby on Sunday as Manchester United mollywopped Man United by a score of 3-0. But
this game was not even close. This game was not even close by a country mile.
Right, you are, and I'll tell you what, it's just been, we look at Man U right now, and the biggest problem right now with Man United right now, and I'll go ahead and say it, is their coach Ruben Amorim. And recent reports and speculation suggest that Amorim's job security at Man United is increasingly in question, despite their club's hierarchy publicly stating their continued support.
Oh my, the dreaded vote of confidence.
By one Sir James Radcliffe.
Oh my.
Struggles under Amorim's leadership include the worst start in 33 years. So basically, the worst start in the Premier League era. Poor league form. 31 games under Amorim. 31 points.
That's 23%. As we say on our previous.
Yeah, as we said in the last episode, yes. 23%. Oh my God. I'm looking at, okay, I got the, let's put up the,
if you have 23% in any sport in the major four sports, that would get you fired within a year or a year and a half.
Actually, the graphic I have here says 28%. In Premier League victory.
Yeah.
Yes. Well behind Eric Ten Hag, his predecessor at 51%, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at 51%, and Jose Mourinho at 53%. Obviously, top of the list, Sir Alex Ferguson. But yeah, clearly the worst start in Premier League history for Man United, and this reminisces back in the 70s when they were struggling very mightily. Obviously, they lost a couple of their key players, one of them being the late great George Best, or I think he's dead. I'm pretty sure George Best, who was
That's on,
integral part of that those United squads in the late '60s, obviously under Sir Matt Budsby, and this is dire times for Man United right now, and yeah,
considering that they lost to Burnley in the FA Cup, that knocked very early. The first time a fourth division club, the second division, beat Man City, and the horrible start. Oh my God! And also, don't forget last year when they almost finished dead last without being relegated, which is 17th place. So.
Not to mention them losing to Tottenham, a team that's was on the slide themselves in the Europa League final, thus guaranteeing no European football for them for Man United this year. And it's been a downward spiral ever since the sacking of Ten Hag. And since match day 12 last year, I'll put up this graphic here. 17th, 31 points in 31 matches played, goal differential of -13. That's worse than Tottenham Hotspur, West Ham United, Wolves. And Wolves has an 11 goal differential for 36 points.
And they don't have a point into their name. They're dead last, literally.
Mm-hmm. And let me see here. West Ham had 34 points during that span. Tottenham with 31 during that span as well, but a goal differential of 4, as stated there. But yeah, since the weekend of the 23rd and 25th of November, United has been on a free fall.
Oh my!
It is definitely uncharacteristic of them, garnering their past history, obviously. 13 Premier League titles, 20 titles overall in English football. It's probably, like I said, the worst time since the 1970s for this club. And the thing is with...
And I know something. You told me that they were once relegated back in the 70s, right?
Absolutely. I believe it was 1974, feel free in the comments if that is correct or not. I believe it was 1974 they got relegated into the second division of English football.
Yeah.
And this is definitely worse times for them. And the thing is though, when you look at Amorim,
yeah,
you figure, okay, that type of form makes you would want to change your tactics a little bit. He's standing firm on his tactics.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Oh my.
You're not seeing production from Bruno Fernandes. You're not seeing production from Casemiro or any of the other guys that they sign and all that, and they spend all kinds of money, to get these players, but they're not adhering to the system. A lot of players are vehemently opposed to what's going on as far as the system goes with them, and the road's not going to get any easier for these guys if this continues.
And by the way, their next game, by the way, is versus Chelsea, which we'll get to in just a minute. But hey, if you're almost about to lose the locker room, and the true supporters of United, they're almost about to lose you, or whatever fan they have left. This is what 20 years private ownership, first from the Glazers and now private equity, and oh my God, it's been a free for all.
Yeah. Sir Jim Radcliffe. Yeah, Sir Jim Radcliffe is CEO of Ineos, and they took over pretty much. I want to say last year or whatever it was, and they made some changes to the club. Lots of cost saving measures, and I think they I wouldn't say blackballed um, Sir Alex Ferguson, but they made it to the point where he's not like one of the shall we say ambassadors of the club anymore, from what I understand.
Oh my.
So it's dire times right now. Dire times right now on the red side of Manchester, shall we say, or
I
The
know.
Salford area of Manchester.
I know. And if things doesn't turn around, the manager may be the eighth manager ever since Sir Alex Ferguson retired.
Yes, I mean that goes with interim bosses as well. But I highlighted like six, five different managers other than Sir Alex Ferguson in that first graphic there that I showed. And I tell you what, it's just until I don't know, it's got to come down to whether Anarim's going to be humble enough to say, okay, this isn't working. I got to try something different. And he's saying, work with me. It's a long process. And sometimes those long processes don't believe in the process. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. In this case right now for Man United, it's not working.
Oh my. Tell
And
me
that's,
about it.
I mean, personally, as a Manchester City fan, I love to see it. Don't get me wrong, but
I know.
for the sake of their club. I mean the worst case. I've been saying on the socials, hammer him out, because clearly he's not the coach or not the manager that Manchester United needs right now.
I know. And how many more games will it take until they said, nope, this is not working? Got bait. Let go.
I figure it would have been this weekend, personally.
No. But next couple of results, and I mentioned they're facing on Chelsea. Oh my.
I mean, some people say it's too early to sack a manager, but guess what Nottingham Forest did? Even though they're in European competition, they sacked their manager early on, and
Yeah,
guess
last
who's in
week.
charge
I
now?
know. I know.
So I mean, there is precedent there.
I know. Speaking of teams that are in trouble or sort of trouble, you mentioned Chelsea. Chelsea tied Brentford 2-2. They have 8 points. They're within the top five. But off the field, they're facing charges from the FA over stuff that happened under their old ownership, who he was forced out in 2022 after the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Tell me the story.
Yes, Roman Abramovich owned the club for in beginning in 2009, and apparently what's going on here was the charges stem from the charges that were brought up were found by the new ownership group owned by Todd Bowley. They include unregistered financial payments linked to player transfers, including deals for players like Eden Hazard. And the club responded and they have to respond to these charges by September 19th.
Which is
Um,
this Friday.
yes. Um, Basically, they self punish themselves. Is what kind of like a Michigan, suspension. We're just waiting for the
Yeah, I know. That's a long story we won't
serve
go into. Yeah.
suspensions whenever you can. I think isn't wait a minute. I think I don't know what the deal was on as far as that goes. But anywho,
Okay. Anyway, let's get back on track.
here's what they are charged on. Specific relegations broken include those of prohibiting use of payment of the use or payment of unauthorized agents and intermediaries.
Okay.
There are also charges related to third-party investment rules and misrepresenting misrepresenting the substance of the transactions. And of course, as I mentioned, the Eden Hazard thing, and also deals with William and Samuel Ito are also
Okay.
under scrutiny here, as far as that goes. Now, these charges could be could be handed down with a fine, which is what Chelsea is hoping for there. No points deduction. However, we got the 115 charges, against Man City as well. So,
Are they similar to what Chelsea went through or a little different?
A little bit different here. So it, it's yet to be reached, obviously, but they settled the dispute over what is known as APT rules, and those
What
rules,
is APT, by the way?
APT rules, is associate party transaction, which
Oh,
means the owner of Manchester City, one Sheikh Mansour, is a you know ahead of Etihad Airways, their
okay.
primary shirt sponsor.
Yeah.
So, in terms of that, that linkage there of ownership being a sponsor of the team, which fuels money into the club that way, it it falls under it falls under a certain rule where say like I like Fred Meyer Meyer Incorporated wanted to put a sponsorship on Grand Rapids' new MLS team, and they want to put a stake in ownership in that group and all that stuff. They can't specifically put that sponsor on their jersey is what it comes down to,
Huh?
because
Uh-huh.
of because it's basically more money being fueled in via that, and it's basically you're still paying money into the club that way. So that's what
Yeah.
that's what the Premier League and the FA are charging as far as that goes.
Okay.
Um, and a lot of these transactions occurred before 2018 with Man City. Hence why we got the 115 charges of breaches into the FFP laws and all that stuff,
Okay.
where
All
they end up
right.
getting, using it for, to get players in there and all that stuff. They overspending. But then again, we all know that the 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 catapult to all this is basically what happened. Oh, I'd say about 30 some odd years ago, right around 1992. Remember when the Premier League was born
Mhm.
out of the original first division of the EFL?
Yes, we all remember that first division really well. It was first division, second division, third division, fourth division. Things were changed a little bit. Where what you said, and I did not know that until you told me the best 22 teams or the 22 richest teams or whatever form a pack to form the
I think they
top tier.
still went. I think they still went by the table by that point. But those 22 teams went and created the Premier League. That was created. A lot of it had to do with our friend, your friend and mine, Rupert Murdoch, and Sky
Yes, Sky
Sports,
Sports. I know.
and thus the Premier, and thus the big money era of football began. And of course, originally you had a big five. You had Manchester United, Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, and Tottenham Hotspur. That was your big five. Manchester City really didn't come into the fold, I would say, until like 2008, 2009, when Sheikh Mansour took over the club, and well, the rest is history, as they say.
I know, and we've seen a big money soccer all over the world, no matter like the Bundesliga, Serie A, Liga One in French and Spain. You know,
And a lot of it has to do with, obviously, I mentioned it, Rupert Murdoch, Sky Sports, television.
I
Television
know.
being the big key there. And
A made for TV sport turning soccer into a sport that is popular all over to a big made for TV sport.
and it did not stop there with that. Obviously, it started getting more exposure in the United States thanks to outlets like ESPN. Then later on, Fox Sports dabbled in it a little bit until
And
NBC
don't
got the
forget
rights.
And don't forget the Fox Soccer channel, which was born
That's
out
why I
of
meant
that
Fox Sports. Yeah, Fox Sports. Uh,
until they lost it to NBC, which we see
and
now.
then ever since NBC took over the rights to the Premier League, it's just ballooned, and it's become probably, I want to say, the fifth most popular sport, maybe the fourth most popular sport in the United States.
I know. And I watch it every week. You know, it's my
As do
job
I.
to follow soccer. Well, we do this every week to follow our hometown club, Detroit City FC, because we liked it. You know what I mean? I don't know if you remember the Detroit Express. I know you wore the Express jersey every time Tampa Bay comes. You know what I mean? I don't remember it because I didn't go because it was in Pontiac and I was in Detroit. Now, after following team from Cat Tech, to Keyword, soon to be Alumni 5 Field. I still follow the club.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, I celebrate the Express in the era that once was here in the United States of the NASL. Of course, that was mainly fueled by Pele, as you know.
Yeah, we mentioned this a few weeks ago.
Yeah, mainly fueled by Pele because Pele was I was just say the lightning rod for that league. And
I know. And
once
he
he
was
once he went away, interest waned a little bit more. I'd say there's more interest now in soccer because of the global game has become, more prominent than it was, say, like back in the 1970s. Where
I
you only
know.
heard of certain players like a Pele, a Rodney Marsh, Johan Cruyff, Franz Beckenbauer, Trevor Francis, for that man. You've only heard of these players, even George Best, because he played with the LA Aztecs back in the day. I mean, there were just certain players, but nobody had let's just say, the prominence of a Pele. And then once
I
Pele
know.
left the game, yeah, okay, teams were still functioning, but they were bleeding money dry. They didn't have
Oh,
the
tell me
huge
about
TV deals like they do nowadays.
it. Oh yeah, this was back in 1980. We didn't have the licensing or the TV. We didn't have a lot of that. The sponsorship as well. It was prominent, but not that prominent. You know what I mean? And by the way, speaking of Trevor Francis, that's the reason I hate to say this, my Premier League team is Nottingham Forest because of that link.
Absolutely, and he played 2 years there and helped him win a European Cup at that moment. And Trevor
And he
Francis,
scored the
part of
game winner
Birmingham
in that
City
one
as well.
European Cup. He
Yeah,
scored the game winner and won a European Cup.
first $1 million player.
I know.
I mean, it's like I said, a great legacy that was brought on, because of that. And like I said, like I said, I mean, it's all about the money nowadays in the sport, and it's sad to say that. It really
Yeah,
is.
it's a sad truth. Must be about the money, right? Money
Just
could help or sometimes a little bit ruin things. Who knows?
Yeah, just like like I said, and MLS has gotten into it. That, even though with the single entity things, but teams find a way.
Duh.
Teams find a way around that, aka Pink Pony Club.
By the way, before we get on going to our USL review, two Premier League score, I just want to mention this. Liverpool won again to start their hot start 4-0. And oh, by the way, did I mention they're good after the 83rd minute?
Oh yeah, I mean,
It's midnight.
what is that? Arnie time?
I know, it's 83rd minute, and Liverpool, either in a close matchup, sometime pull it out. I think the 83rd minute is midnight for Liverpool.
Well, you look at it this way too. They were doing this under Klopp as well.
Uh-huh.
I think they've taken over. Good teams do what they do at the end of games. I mean, I'll just leave it at that. Good teams do what they do at the end of games, and for the most part, if you're a good team, you're going to be able to come down from deficits like that and end up turning them into a positive result, whether it be a point or three. You're salvaging a point or you're gaining 3 points in the process.
Uh-huh.
So
I know. And by the way, they're on an 83, there could be 38 match scoring streak, by the way. Since last season.
Yeah, speaking of, and we're not going to go delve into Champions League predictions at this point because right now they're in the group phase and games are going on.
Phase now.
Yeah, the league
called
phase, not the group phase. I mean, I forgot about that.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah,
One more team I have to mention: Aston Villa drew against Everton off their worst start at 19th place, and this stat is so amazing. Guess how many goals they have scored after count them, 4 matches.
0?
Yep. They haven't scored in 4 games.
And where are they right now?
What?
Where are they right now?
19th place. Above Wolves, who haven't scored a point.
Wow. They managed to get a one. Like what? How many draws did they end up getting?
Two.
So they got 2 points so far on the year.
You thought the 11-hour scoreless streak in 2023 by Detroit City was bad. Oh my God. Oh my.
And Ozzy must be rolling in his grave right now.
Probably. I don't know.
I mean, I'm all for up the Villa, but man, this is just, ay, 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 ay. What's going on over in Birmingham?
I have no clue.
Yeah, and I think this was a team that was, started to get back into like European football and whatnot as well. So, I mean, this is a bitter pill to swallow for the villains right now.
Yeah, I know. And embarrassing.
Very embarrassing.
Embarrassing.
Very,
I know.
very embarrassing indeed. But let's go into the craziness that is right now USL Championship at this point. We are in the home stretch, as you know, of the Premier League season, or not Premier
And
League,
that's
of the
USL season.
championship season.
Sorry.
So
We'll think about it when they do launch it. But I watch a lot of YouTube, and there's a YouTuber called Jaguar JR9 where they review the NFL, and every week they have to look at every dumb decision, a game that affected their team, and hoping not come back to haunt them until they either scored the game-winning kick or the touchdown to make it 2 scores. Well, last week we had, let's say our version of a dumb decision is a bad game. BCFC, as you probably know, got lasted 4-0 by New Mexico United.
and we went over this on Wednesday night about that. A lot of, I said heavy rotation on the USL show last night, and to me, heavy rotation. Let me clarify this.
Okay.
Okay, you were without Darren Smith. You were without Atis Juve. You were without Carlos Saldana. Yeah, okay, some of the parts and pieces were still in the lineup that night. But that's 3 big players that have contributed to this recent run that were out of the lineup. I call that heavy rotation.
I know.
Especially when you got the big guns out of there.
You're right. And you were hoping, I hope it doesn't affect us when the rest of the USL played on Saturday. Well, it did. Hartford on fire. The hottest team in the East won their 6th game out of the last 7. 7 out of the last 8 of the JG Cup semifinal. 4-0. Saw this game.
Yeah, they pulled away. Much the goal scoring that went on in the league that weekend. I think we had a 3-3 draw that came about as well.
Yeah,
goals were aplenty.
There were a lot of goals. I was kind of surprised. Usually it was not one of those 3-1, 2-1s, or 1-0 exciting matches. The goals were high. We did get help from Loudon. Well, Loudon lost to San Antonio in a 7-goal affair.
Yeah, 5-2 the final of that game.
Yeah.
And that was after I think Loudon was up 1-0, got a red card in stoppage time of the first half, and then things just went downhill from there.
I know.
Yeah, and then they ended up losing 5-2 at home at Segra Field to San Antonio. And I mean, goals galore here. You had a 3-3 draw between Oakland and Charleston. You had a 3-3 draw between Tampa Bay and Colorado.
Yes.
2-2 Phoenix Rising and Sacramento Republic. Goals were plentiful this week in the championship. And by the way, the only game that was scoreless.
What was the game scoreless? They didn't have it in my notes.
The Nacherino Bowl.
The Macherino Bowl? Who's that? What is that?
Miami FC versus Las Vegas Lights. The Nocherino Bowl or Nacherino Bowl, whatever it was. He, coached both sides. It showed. I guess he blessed Cashman Field with ineptness on Saturday night.
Oh, my, yeah.
Yeah, it was just crazy. Going back to the table, though, however,
let's couple our scores before we go to the table. Rhode Island is in the mix, 1-0 over Indy 11. They're in the 8th spot. But Pittsburgh lost to our dear friends in Lou City 2-0. That helped out a little bit. We're still tied. And not only that, they're one step closer because this was the surprise of the game of the week. The Charlton Battery drew against Oakland 3-3.
Yeah, which I
That
mentioned
was
earlier.
surprising. That was
Yep.
surprising.
Surprising for Charlton. Yeah,
Yeah.
surprising in more ways than one because it put Lou City 2 games up on them.
Let's show you the standings. Yes, 5 points over Charleston, 57-51.
6
They are
points,
going.
actually.
What?
6 points, actually.
6 points. Okay. I'm just writing from the notes. As far as the others, Loudon, North Carolina, Loudon with 37. Loudon with 37. Loudon with I'm recording.
Yeah,
Yeah.
11, 30,
Loudon with 37.
North Carolina with 36.
Well,
Hartford, of course, jumped ahead of us with that 4-0 win. They are 3 points up on Detroit City, who's sitting 6 at 32 points. Pittsburgh,
okay.
Yeah, Pittsburgh with 31 points, and of course Rhode Island with the victory jumps over into 11 into the 8th spot at 27 points.
Yeah, 27 points. Yeah, and in games, Indy 26, Birmingham 22, Tampa Bay 22, Miami 21. And as we are talking, Tampa Bay and Birmingham is playing right now. They're in extra time. Tampa Bay is leading Birmingham 3-1.
Not looking good for Kaler and the boys down there.
Nope.
Kaler. The thing is about Kaler, he will accept it. He will,
Okay.
and I admire him for it. Much in the way I've accepted, losses with Detroit City, and especially the one last week against New Mexico United. He'll accept it and all that stuff. But you got Mark. This is an unlike a Mark Briggs team.
I
and
know.
Gradually he got in when he did. I mean, got in earlier in the year, coming in for Shine, and next thing you know, he still can't rectify the problems going on with this Birmingham Legion squad.
I know. Ever since Danny Trejo was transferred to Oakland, brother.
And they brought Trejo in, and they brought Ronaldo Damas in to get some more firepower and hope to recreate the magic that they did over at Phoenix Rising a couple years ago when they won the USL Championship.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the magic was definitely not there, and even bringing in, I was going to say Cal Jennings, but Cal Jennings is tearing things up over in Charleston right now. But
yeah, he has the Golden Boot lead with 15.
Yep, exactly, and and that's part of the reason why Charleston is right up there as far as gold, as far as the top teams. Philip Grosven's having a pretty good year as well.
I know. As for the veteran teams, FC Tulsa still top of the pops at 46, and then Sacramento at 38, and then this could change by next week. New Mexico, San Antonio 33, El Paso, Lexington 32, Colorado Springs and Phoenix 31, Orange County 29. But like I said, it could change next week. Oh, by the way, we're facing on one.
How many points is that between fourth and third?
Not
fourth and third. Excuse me. Between ninth and third.
Ninth and third, 4 points.
The pillow fight has begun, ladies and gentlemen, and we christened that last week. Plus, you got on the outside looking at it. Right now, Monterey Bay looks like the team that might be out. However, you got Las Vegas might be on the verge of being out as well. They're sitting at 25 points. Oakland Roots is at 25 points as well. They're 5 points out of. They're both 5 points out of the 8th spot right now. Depending on results that's going to happen in the next 6 weeks, you could see a fight for the bottom. But right now, we don't even know who's going to be. Clearly, right now, the class of the league or the class of the division is SC Tulsa, sitting at 46 points.
after a 14-game match streak, you know what I mean, without a loss until they lost last week. It's now 15 out of their last thing. They could be a buzzkill in the playoffs. Whoever faced them.
Hottest take of the year thus far from me.
Yeah.
Hartford Tulsa final.
Oh my.
What could be better than having the two hottest teams in the USL right now clash out in the championship match?
I know.
And with the roster moves that Hartford has made as of late, that could be a harbinger, for that, bringing in Elijah Berry to help that attack right now. That could be a harbinger for, that could be danger signs for, say, like a Charleston or a Lou City. A lot of people are talking that those two are the class of the league, and I get that. They are the top, the class of the Eastern Conference right now. The road has to go through those places. However, if you're looking for teams that are going to make a statement and probably surprise some people, that would be the team right there, Hartford Athletic.
I know.
And who would have thought of that in the Tab Ramos era?
I'll say this right now. Every time, remember we made our grand predictions, and on the moving after the playoffs, we're gonna look back at our predictions, and every time Hartford move up, and my prediction of them finishing dead last look worse and worse. Oh my!
Yep, they're surprised. Brendan Burke's doing a phenomenal job over there in Hartford, and I'll tell you that. And this is after a little bit of a fan revolt over there.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about what's going on here. I'll leave that to the boys over at the majors and 451 for that.
Okay.
And there was a story in the Detroit News about it. So
Yeah.
if you're a
Go look
subscriber
at
there,
article up. Yes.
yeah, Tony Paul did a fantastic article as far as that goes. But going back to Hartford, since this is the Musings, by the way,
okay,
and we cover everything else in the USL. Brendan Burke has, they went through a little fan turmoil with the Bonanza over there because of performance. And then next thing you know, they turn on the afterburners and start beating everybody. During the Jägermeister Cup final against Sacramento coming up,
yeah,
they've been ransacking through anybody and everyone in the league. So this is a scary team to face, which
I
a couple
know.
months ago we were thinking, why in the hell were you losing to Hartford? Well, you're seeing the example right now.
I know, and I would not be surprised if their coach is nominated for Coach of the Year.
If he's not Coach of the Year, I would demand a recount.
Yeah, me too.
Because he's done a phenomenal job with that squad and turned them into, a team that's going to be that could host a playoff game.
Yes. Oh my.
If not, they're going to be a very dangerous fifth seed.
I know. Okay.
So
and don't forget, the head coach of LC Colts. I don't know who he is, but he could also be Coach of the Year as well.
Absolutely, and
I know.
I'm looking that up right now for I'm looking that up right now. Head coach Luke Spencer, young guy, 34 years old. He's done a fantastic job.
I cannot wait until the nominees are out so we could do a Skitzel and Ebert style if we pick the winner. So that would be fun. So
yeah, yeah, because I think they have like something like that on under the the fans will vote in the USL Championship website as far as that like Player of the Year and all that stuff. Other stuff is statistical, like Golden Boot and Gold Glove and all that fun stuff. Other than that, it's statistical. But I think fans can have a say in those votes as well.
yeah, and the fans are part of it. Also, the media members who cover the USL in their respective market, they have a say as well. So
yeah, and
I know.
I mean, you look at this team. Taylor Calhera right now has 11 goals on the year. He's been part of the spark for that team. Another one, old friend of ours, Trevor Rahman, 2 goals, but he's contributed in a little bit of a way to Tulsa's success as well. So
I know,
but needless, it's going to be a wild 6 weeks.
I know.
That way. We're at week 29 now.
I know.
29, 30,
Speaking of
31.
which, let's move to the Champion League, the Euro. Well, you know
We
what I'm
mentioned
talking
it a little
about.
bit earlier.
I know. Yeah. Well, started off league play. They do league play now. No more group play. This is their second year where all the teams, 36 to be exact, they are paired with 8 random teams, 4 home, 4 away. Best 16 make it to the knockout round. And I want to focus on one game. And oh
Yeah.
yeah, I saw the highlight.
Oh
Real
my
Madrid
God.
against
Unfortunately,
Mafia,
we cannot do the highlight because UEFA has strict restrictions on what you can broadcast.
including
Because
our
we
little
learned that
indie.
lesson. We learned that lesson the hard way during the Euro,
Yeah,
Women's Euro.
yeah, and as you probably know, we're an indie rookie, YouTube channel. But
Yeah.
I'll
But
mention this right
play a
now. I
card.
saw
Play a
the
card.
highlight.
Want to go back to the minute of that incident there yesterday in Champions League here. So
I
give me a
saw the
second.
highlight, and it was an egregious phantom call, literally and figuratively and controversially.
Oh, most definitely. Oh, why am I going way back there? Okay, so yesterday in the game between Real Madrid and Marseille, it
Yes,
it was Marcel opened up the scoring, and then penalty Real Madrid equalized on a penalty kick earlier in the
from
match.
Mbappe.
Mbappe in the 29th minute of play. Timmy Weah. Um, Timmy Weah puts Marcel up. Obviously, Timmy Weah, as you know, U.S. National. Uh, puts him up in the 22nd minute. Mbappe in the 29th minute on a penalty. And then we go to the right around the 81st minute of play here, where this picture I'm going to show you here
Yeah.
is very controversial. Okay, so the player for Marseille um, falls onto the ground, and does it look
And
like he's using the ball as a brace?
yeah, he fell on the ball. His left arm fell on the ball as he was going down. He wasn't holding it up or something like that, but it was called a handball. Weird. He wasn't holding it or stopping it. He was falling down. As he was falling down, the his left arm hit the ball as he was going down. So they called it a handball penalty to Real Madrid, and everybody was like, huh? It was just, oh my God.
The referee pointed to the spot, obviously, never
Yeah.
consulted with VAR officials to confirm the handball.
Uh-huh.
Neither did UEFA match control or the VAR official assigned to that match put a bug in his ear saying, hey, let's take a look at this thing more thoroughly here. He just went along with it, though. But judging by, the video evidence that was shown, via, different outlets, a lot of people were saying that should not have been a handball. That was, was the hand in the natural position? Was it in a natural position? Was it accidental? Who knows what it? But he just pointed, looked at it, pointed to the spot right away, and just, it was a handball. No, no rhyme or no recourse after that.
I know. And the
And
end result,
yeah, Christina Uncle, the rules analyst for CBS Sports, was uh, even thought that shouldn't have been called a handball
oh, brother,
at
because
that.
he did it by accident. He was just falling down, ball hit arm.
It
He had
happens.
nowhere to stop it as he was going down. His ball touched the arm by accident. No support, no assisting it, trying to level it. It just, he went down, arm hit ball in the penalty area, and it was one of those accidental, as
Yeah,
he was
it was
going down.
clearly accidental, and
I
you
know.
know it shouldn't have. From what we get, it should not have been called. And like I said, unfortunately, we can't show you the video. We can only show you the still photographs. Due
I
to
know.
UEFA laws. I was hearing a little bit. It's hard to hear what happened. I mean, the differences between watching it visually and listening to it, because I was listening to the game yesterday on
Uh-huh.
Sirius XM. They had that as their featured match, and like I said, even the commentators after the game thought it wasn't a handball. Even I was shout out Eric Winalda and Jason Davis once again. Listen to them on counterattack. They had to point counterpoint, or kind of like a point counterpoint. Their definition of a handball in that situation.
Huh?
But
I know.
needless to say, it was just like I said, very controversial. And then you look at it, I'm thinking in my mind, well, guess what? Real Madrid got away with another one, didn't they?
Yeah, Mbappe got his second, the penalty kick brace.
Even though they got a red card in that match as well, I'm going back to that. Yeah, they got a red card in the match. Bad tackle, by the way, by Daniel Carvajal. He was a replacement for Trent Alexander-Arnold, who went out earlier in the match. I believe that was in the fifth minute of play.
Uh-huh.
So we don't know what's going on with Arnold as far as that goes, as far as his health goes. But bad tackle by Carvajal in the 72nd minute resulted in a red card and put them down to 10 men. And you think Marseille was going to come away with this one, stealing a point here. However, it didn't happen to be the case. And I'm thinking to myself, listening to this match, that okay, Real Madrid got away with another one, like they
I know.
always do.
They always do because they're one of the kings in Europe, literally.
Yeah,
Unless they face on PSG and get blown out.
talk about a club that likes to rule the roost, shall we say, in a two-team, shall we say, I'll say it, Farmers League.
I know.
It's just as bad as the Scottish Premier League, in my opinion. When you got
I
two
know.
teams, in that league that you know consistently are up on the top year in
I
and year
know.
out.
I
So,
know.
speaking of the Scottish Premier League,
Oh yes, we didn't mention about this in our first bit, but yeah, let's go at it because Celtic
speaking
won
of the
last week.
Scottish
Yeah,
Premier
Celtic
League,
won last week and guess that they're tied with Hearts for the league with 13 points. That's one of our rivals. But another common word name team, not so much.
the team known as the Huns, formerly known as Sevco, owned by the San Francisco 49ers.
Are you talking about Rangers?
Team that plays in Ibrox Park, yes, indeed. Oh my God. Let me go over these results, by the way. Tuesday, August 19th, 3-1. Okay. All right. So they've won once, and that was a League Cup game against Aloha Athletic, and that was a 4-2 victory there. Since then, they won a penalty shootout against to get into Champions League qualification against Victoria Plizen. They won in a penalty kick shootout for that one. Actually, what ended up happening, I don't know how the hell that ended up happening. I don't know. No. Never mind. No, they won 4-3 aggregate in that one. Never mind. It wasn't a penalty kick shootout. My bad there. I was reading it wrong. So they won that penalty kick shootout. Since then, since August 16th,
Okay.
3-1 losers to Club Brugge. 1-1 draw against St. Mirren. 6-0 drubbing in the hands of Club Brugge, eliminated them from Champions League competition.
Okay.
The draw against Celtic, 0-0. Uninspired one, to be exact. And then they lose to the league leaders, Hearts, by a score of 2-0. Currently, right now, at the table, they have played 5 games, 1-0, drew 4, lost 1, for a total of 4 points. 10 in the 12-team league. 1 point better than Dundee, 3 points better than Aberdeen right now.
How the hell did this happen?
I don't know what the deal is. Their coach right now is a lot of people are saying that the coach right now is in hot water, Russell Martin, because of same as we talked about interim. Results are not being made right now.
Oh my!
And like I said, people have been sacked for less.
I know.
So
and if this was the end of the season, and we have a long ways off until the end of the season in April, and this is done a little bit differently, unlike the UK Premier League.
Right now, if the season were to end today, they'd be in the relegation playoff stage or relegation stage, where I don't know how many teams that end up getting relegated. If it's the last place team that ends up getting relegated or whatever it is, I'm not really sure about that.
They cut it out of 6. The top 6 play in the title playoff, and then the bottom 6 play in the relegation. I don't know how many teams are relegated, or 1 or 2, because like you said, it's a 12-team league, but
it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, it's early yet. They could have a way to come back and make it into the top 6 or whatever it is, but right now, things aren't looking so hot right now for the King's Club, shall we say? Yeah, because they are British to the core.
I know. Well,
UK to the core.
Considering that Chelsea won't have to worry about Rangers until they meet again, literally. The only thing we have to fend off is Hearts.
Yeah, Celtic. Well, they play them several times a year. Celtic does, but yeah, right now Hearts and Celtic are the 2 top teams, and Celtic, they're there. They've been there. It's just normal for them. Hearts right now could be the team that could spoil the let's just say spoil the brooch this year in Scottish football as far as that goes. So, but one women's soccer note we want to do before we leave here: a very, very, very scary incident occurred on Saturday night as Racing Louisville took on Seattle out at Lumen Field in downtown Seattle there. Can't think of the player's name offhand. Do you have that by chance?
I got the name on my notes. Savannah Delmino.
She had a medical issue that occurred.
Oh, yeah.
And play was suspended. And in fact, that was, and I guess they actually played the match last night, from what I understand.
Yeah, the second half only behind closed doors. Seattle won it 1-0. And the reason why the match was made, I'm going to have to rewind back to May of this year. Angel City player Savvy Kane also had a different medical issue. She just simply collapsed. The game was stopped to tend to her. They removed her, but the reaction on the field by both Utah and Angel City, which they were their opponent, they had to play the last 15 minutes of the match back in May. And the ladies, after seeing a serious medical and very involving a teammate or a sister, it's just scary. So, and there was a lot of criticism. Why in the hell did we play the last 10 or 15 minutes of the match of this very scary incident? And the players, so the NWF, the National Women's Soccer League, decided to change a rule. Like, if there's a medical emergency, the game is stopped, abandoned, suspended for a medical emergency because the players, just want to take care of the players. So that's the new rule. And we saw that implicated last Saturday night when Savannah Del Monte went down and she was taken care of. So the match was abandoned, rescheduled for last night with Seattle won. So they want to take care of their players before anything.
And do so definitely. I mean, because such a horrific situation, and our thoughts go out to Savannah as well. Hope she's doing well into the racing Louisville community down there.
And she's recovering. She's recovering. Yeah,
that's good. That's very good to hear. But I mean, we've seen precedents in men's play as well. I mean, everybody remembers Christian Eriksen a couple years ago in the Euros.
I remember that.
Succumbed to a heart ailment didn't thankfully survived it. He succumbed to a heart ailment or whatever it was in a match, collapsed on the field. There was a delay in the field, and then they went on and they suspended they ended the first half, went on and played the second half of that match. I mean, grant you, it was the Euros, it was a competition, where but then again, you got to think, like you were saying, you got to think of the players that are on the pitch at the time of the incidents happening. What's in their minds? Do they really want to play the game at that point?
I don't think so.
Is it that important to finish out a match because one of the players, tragically falls, tragically falls at the end of play? I mean, we've seen instances in the NFL. I mean, recently, one of the Lions players went down. And they suspended the match and ended up suspended the game and ended up calling the game.
Yes, it was suspended and it was called off because, like I said, you saw that in the game you were just mentioning. He started with like a neck issue, got whacked behind the head and all that, and he wasn't moving. And all the players were concerned by both Atlanta and Detroit, saying, "I hope he's okay." Luckily, he survived that whole ordeal, which is,
And it was good on both the Falcons and the Lions to decide, you know what? This game's not important anymore. Let's end this thing, it was good on them. It's preseason. I get it.
Preseason, like nobody followed preseason anyway. Forgot.
But I mean, something like that.
And we saw that also with Darmar Hamlin of the Buffalo Bills. He collapsed after being hit on the right when his heart was beating, and that game never got finished. It was a Monday night game against Cincinnati. It was.
You got to take into consideration the players' mental health or mental stability at that point. Is it worth it to finish a game like that? Absolutely not.
No.
At that point, no. You got to take into that consideration.
And here's another big question. What if it happened in an international competition like the Women's World Cup or the Men's World Cup? And
we saw precedents in the Euros. They went on and they still played the game even though there was a delay.
But here's another question. What if the players are too disrupted? Honestly, we could start from the beginning or pick it up.
They could. I think they could do the same thing. Like I said, kudos to NWSL for doing what they did on Saturday night, suspending the match and making it, they ended up finishing it off on Tuesday. So kudos to them as far as that goes. And,
I know. And not only that, if you want to reschedule, pick up the game, you don't have to do it before the third game in group play because you probably don't want a situation like East Germany against Algoa. Remember, East Germany scored a goal in Spain 92, and then they were passing. Yeah, you don't want a situation like that. Let's say
if the players' hearts aren't into it, I mean, I can easily understand. I can easily understand. Where they're coming from at that point. So
I know. Okay. So this was a good show despite our technical abilities and somebody. I know. And somebody walking in
while the ambience of the outdoors, enjoying the ambience, even though I got my screen.
Somebody walked in when on my end when I'm saying, I'm doing a show. But like I said, sorry about that.
Hey, we filled that in nicely.
I know. But hey, guess what? We're going to be there on Saturday in real life.
Yes, we
before
are, and big game
Denny
against
versus
big game for
Lexington,
Detroit
their
City.
first time all-time meeting against the two squads.
Yep. Lexington SC comes into town. I trampled over you a bit there, but yeah, big game for Detroit City if they want to continue their their push to the playoffs. Because I mean, even though they're firmly set right now and they want to get that home play, this is the stretch right there where you really want to see whether or not you want to have that home playoff match.
Yeah, because after Lexington, let me quote the late great game show host Tom Kenny, you're about to meet five of the most villainous foes in the Eastern Conference. You have North Carolina, you got Loudoun, Louisville, Charlotte, and Tampa Bay. Although Tampa Bay,
by then, I think they could be eliminated from playoff contention. But the first four, they're your top four right now.
I know.
And we never thought of that, going into this season going into this end of the season that we would figure North Carolina and Loudoun being part of that top four that we have to contend with in order to make it into the top four.
I know. It could be either home four, away four, or eliminated four, depending on how this last 6 weeks will work.
All right, let's do this on Saturday. Let's break it down, those last 6 after Lexington. We'll do that on After Hours, or last 5, I should say. We'll break it down, you and I. All right.
Okay.
Until we meet again on next Saturday, my buddy Steve there in Hamtramck.
You have a nice day. See you later. See you on Saturday.
All righty. And for me here in Fenton, keep your feet in the ground. Keep reaching for the galaxy. Let's take care of each other.